Okay, so on that note, let's dive into brain health. There's some pretty recent research that suggests there's a potential association between dietary magnesium intake and brain health. So this was an observational study using data from over 6,000 participants. They were aged 40 to 73. It was UK Biobank data. And those who reported a higher magnesium intake had on average larger brain volumes, which could convey up to approximately 1 year of reduced brain aging compared to those with lower magnesium intakes. So the results revealed that the higher dietary magnesium consumption, this was about 550 milligrams per day, seemed to correlate with larger gray matter and hippocampal volumes than the average intake of about 350 milligrams per day, which is actually closer to the RDA. This was actually particularly notable in women. I would say this is an intriguing link. Obviously, interpretation of these results have to recognize that these are observational studies, so they really can't provide a cause and effect relationship, only suggest a possible association. So the data is based on self-reported dietary intake. That could be influenced by other overall, dietary patterns or other factors like lifestyle habits or health conditions to really, I would say, conclusively state that magnesium is improving brain health by increasing brain volume, particularly gray matter in the hippocampal region of the brain. We would need clinical trials, to substantiate that potential relationship. Those probably aren't going to be done, so kind of just have to look at this data and make what you want out of it. Magnesium has been linked to the development and progression of various age-related brain disorders. Higher cerebral magnesium levels have been shown to decrease oxidative stress and inflammation and improve synaptic plasticity, also counteract other mechanisms leading to neurodegeneration. So there was a recent systematic review that revealed individuals with Alzheimer's disease also have significantly lower plasma magnesium levels compared to healthy controls. So researchers looked at a lot of data from different sources like blood, serum, plasma, the fluid around the brain, the cerebrospinal fluid, which helped them sort of be more confident about their findings. However, when they specifically checked the fluid, the cerebrospinal fluid, it wasn't entirely clear. So there was a hint that Alzheimer's patients might have lower magnesium in the cerebrospinal fluid, but it wasn't as clear cut as in the plasma, in the blood, for example, in serum. In a study that followed over 1,000 middle-aged adults for 17 years, researchers found that those who ate the most magnesium, so they were getting at least 196 milligrams per day, had a 37% lower chance of getting dementia when they got older compared to those who ate the least magnesium. So they were getting 174 milligrams per day or less. There was another study in people aged 60 and above who did not have dementia, also showed that eating more magnesium, so this was at least 434 milligrams, might help them from getting mild cognitive impairment, which is the stage before dementia. The numbers from this study suggest that the risk was much lower for those who ate more magnesium. And again, another observational study, this was over 2,500 older adults who are mentally healthy, again, found higher magnesium intake. This was over 407 milligrams per day, was also linked to overall better brain function. But this benefit was actually only seen in women. So again, all these studies are observational. They're really only showing associations. They really can't prove that higher magnesium intake directly causes these health benefits. We need more controlled trials, clinical research to really establish that definitive link. But we do know that magnesium is a vital coenzyme that plays a crucial role in a variety of biochemical processes in the brain. So it serves as the key factor in a variety of brain-specific enzymes. So adenosine triphosphatases, these are ATPases. They're crucial enzymes that control our ability to hydrolyze ATP, which is the major energy source for all of our cells, very important in the brain. So magnesium is a cofactor. It's essential for those enzymes to properly function. And, this is really important for the sodium, potassium ATPase and the calcium ATPase, which help establish this electrochemical gradient across our cellular membranes in our brain. It's essential for neuronal function. Another enzyme would be involved with creatine. So you guys have heard of creatine. Most people think about it in the context of bodybuilding, muscle mass, but it also is important in the brain as well. So creatine passes phosphate groups from phosphocreatine to ADP to make ATP, that energy currency. And so, the enzymes that are doing this, again, require magnesium to do it. So another reason why magnesium would be important for the brain. It's also important for another enzyme called glutamine synthetase. So this enzyme, it enables the conversion of glutamate into ammonia and glutamine. And magnesium is required for the appropriate function of this enzyme and this is really critical because maintaining that glutamate to glutamine balance in the brain is important for preventing excitotoxicity. So this could potentially lead to neuronal damage. If you're not maintaining that balance, you might have too much glutamate, which could lead to that excitotoxicity and neurotoxicity, right? So too much excitatory activity from glutamate, you could end up with neuronal damage. So magnesium this is just 3 examples of enzymes in the brain where magnesium plays a critical function and why magnesium is so crucial for brain function. I would say one area with respect to the brain where the data is a bit stronger is migraines. So magnesium might play a role in managing migraines, which is a condition that affects many people worldwide. There's recent randomized controlled trials that have really shed some light on magnesium's potential benefits for those suffering from migraines. So what is happening in the brain during a migraine? One key element is something called cortical spreading depression. So it's a kind of wave of brain activity that leads to visual and sensory changes we often associate with migraine auras. So interestingly, magnesium supplementation seems to help prevent these waves. But there's a little more to it. Magnesium may also decrease the release of certain chemicals in the brain, like substance P and glutamate, which are known to transmit pain signals. So by reducing their release, magnesium could play a role in lessening the pain associated with migraines. Also, it might prevent the further narrowing of brain blood vessels caused by serotonin, another neurotransmitter involved in migraines. So as it turns out, individuals who suffer from migraines are often found to be deficient or have insufficient magnesium. Now, this might not be entirely surprising when we consider that nearly half the US population doesn't get enough magnesium in their diet. But it does highlight a potential link between widespread nutritional gaps and specific health conditions like migraines. Understanding these connections can offer us insights, I think, into simple yet impactful ways to improve our health. So there's results of randomized controlled trials that we're going to discuss. There were 5 randomized controlled trials that indicate that magnesium supplementation can effectively reduce the frequency and intensity of migraine relapses. So magnesium is believed to work by preventing cortical spreading depression, the brain signaling waves often responsible for migraine aura we just talked about. And additionally, magnesium reduces the release of those pain-transmitting chemicals like substance P and glutamate. The effective magnesium dose for preventing migraines seems to be around 600 milligrams per day, which is almost twice the suggested upper limit. To minimize gastrointestinal discomfort, I think it's advisable to divide the dose into smaller amounts, such as 200 milligrams taken 3 times throughout the day. This can really help minimize, the irritation on the digestive tract while still providing an effective dose for migraine management. So I mentioned this data comes from 5 different randomized controlled trials. I do think that while there's only a few studies, the implications could be significant. Migraines, they're not just headaches. They're really complex neurological events. So understanding how something as accessible as a magnesium supplement for some people could mitigate these symptoms, I think is really, it offers new hope and a potential new avenue for relief for some people. So it's a great example of how diving deep into some of the brain science and understanding magnesium's role and looking at some of the clinical studies can kind of help lead to some practical everyday health benefits.